Rumor has it Microsoft will be able to pay all its bills.
Yeah, I guess they're doing it right.
Yeah, Microsoft dropped earnings yesterday, high numbers. Revenue is 65.6 billion, net income 24.7 billion. Just
I
big
like when
numbers.
Microsoft they use different metrics. Like you and I probably think in dollars and cents, and they do different stuff. I mean, obviously there are dollars
Yeah,
in
but I
there,
mean it's
but they talk about things like run rates. Remember Surface used to be on a run rate. Now it's just running.
it's running from the meat cleaver that is
Yeah, exactly. The budget dogs. But yeah, what do you think about Xbox?
So I think there's some very hidden information in the way that they were talking.
Mm-hmm.
So first off, they came out and in the earnings call said they were actually a bit surprised at how well Xbox did better than their expectations initially.
Xbox broadly.
Yes, not
Yeah.
specifically hardware by any
Mm-hmm.
means. But here's the thing that they said that I think is very easy to overlook. They said for this upcoming quarter, they expect
Yep.
revenue to be mostly flat, which you could interpret to mean things are bad. However, I don't think that's actually the case because
Okay.
they said they had like record growth for Game Pass,
Yep.
right? They've had whatever a lot of
Without
people
saying what that was.
right without saying that what that was. Hopefully, they better
Mm-hmm.
say it next quarter. But here's the conclusion that I came to
Mm-hmm.
that they are comparing for next quarter. They will
Yep.
be comparing against this quarter, right, that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they sold Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty was for sale. It was not
That's
part
right.
of Game Pass. So everybody on Xbox, at least, was paying 60,
And
70 bucks, if not more. Those
just
same
to be
people,
clear, I mean, you're saying this, but just so people understand,
yeah,
the Activision was integrated into Microsoft by this point. So
yep.
the coming quarter reflects year over year with Activision.
However, this year,
Mm-hmm.
they're hoping that those same people are only paying $20 per month. So there's going to be,
Yeah.
if you think about it, now granted, this does not count. PlayStation would have to be roughly the same or maybe higher. PC
Mm-hmm.
sales would be roughly the same, maybe a little higher or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Xbox, that even though it's third place on the revenue tier,
Right.
if they get more people into Game Pass, they say it in the call that the revenue recognition doesn't come for many months.
Okay. I was curious if you're going to get to that. So yeah, that's right. So but oddly enough, even Call of Duty, when purchased at retail, because it has an online requirement.
Yep.
There's also I don't know what you call that. They spread out the earnings over months as well.
Yep.
So you have a game like Call of Duty where it's very easy to say something like, "Oh, it just had the best single day opening of all time," which doesn't mean too much because it could be zero tomorrow. But the revenues from this thing, regardless of how you
Mm-hmm.
acquire it, are spread out over time. Which, by the way, is the Microsoft model. That's what
Yep.
they want, right?
So all the following statements can be true. It is
Mm-hmm.
the most played Call of Duty game. They had
Mm-hmm.
the most sign up for Game Pass in history, and
Yeah,
revenue did not increase.
at all, and that's actually good because
But that's what I mean. Like if you think about it, if revenue is actually just straight flat, that is a
Right.
very good thing for Xbox. Now, if it dropped, that's not obviously great, but if it is just truly just flat, that means
I
that they've added enough Game Pass subscribers that it should, in time, they come out significantly ahead.
that's right. I think the expectation there was that revenues would be less because of Game Pass,
Right.
right? Basically, on Call of Duty specifically, but the value, the long term play on Game Pass, obviously, is that people will subscribe just to play Call of Duty. Well, and have that in back in mind, like, oh, I have all these other games, and then hopefully what happens is either because of DLC that you just get as part of that package, or
Mm-hmm.
they start exploring the service and they're like, oh, actually, this thing's worth whatever I'm paying for it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a different thing on PC, right? We think we think of it as Xbox Game Pass, right? But I mean, a huge chunk of this from the Call of Duty angle is coming from PC. And by the way, PC Game Pass is a good service. It doesn't have the gigantus library that you see on Xbox, but you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, PC gamers are used to playing games from different sources and whatever. This is another avenue. I mean, it's a good service.
The other annoying thing, which I think this is the first quarter, which is frustrating, but it
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. We have no idea about Surface devices anymore, right? They're shoved
No,
under
it's yeah.
Windows
So
OEM and devices.
this is part of the thing I hope to write up this morning. I have another podcast today, unfortunately, that I have to really prepare for. But one of my analysis piece, I'm kind of specking out for the earnings. That's part of it. So there's been a massive accounting change in how Microsoft reports things. So a big chunk of what used to be Windows revenues are now in Microsoft 365, which is in a different part of the business. And Surface, which had become devices for reporting purposes, is now sucked into Windows, just Windows. It is Windows OEM. You're right,
devices,
but
yeah.
we're never going to see. They're a line item in the PC world, so it's it's just it's hidden. It's effectively hidden. So what I mean by that is, if you thought about Windows OEM revenues before, it was literally PC makers paying Microsoft for Windows licenses. Very straightforward. Now, you've got negligible revenues from a tiny business that is not paying for Windows licenses, this is just people or companies buying Surface PCs. It's just gone. It's nothing. Like it's just gone. Like you'll never know anymore. And this is what they do. They hide everything. So this is the end of us having any idea how well this thing is doing, unless they happen to say something.
Yeah, which I think at the peak, it had a $2 billion revenue quarter, if I remember correctly.
You'll never hear a number like that again.
No, and it's nowhere near that anymore. There's no way.
No, it's over. Like this is gone.
It is. You get
By the way,
two basic devices and whatever.
Look forward to the day when that happens to Xbox hardware. It will happen. It's going to happen.
The model's there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. This is the hard thing for me. Reporting on revenues. Like I don't understand how the SEC hasn't kind of come down on this. Like companies, especially I follow Microsoft the most closely, but they've gotten so non-transparent, I guess, on where money's coming from. Which is part of my commentary on the run rate thing. It's like, dude, you're not making that much money. You're saying if we just did this every quarter, but you don't know like what the investments are. Like I haven't seen it yet. So did you see the number for what they spent on AI infrastructure this quarter? Because I'm guessing it went up. And last time it was what? 15 billion?
Yeah, I don't actually know.
I know, I got to look it up. I haven't seen it yet. So
they did make commentary though that they have turned away some AI business where they're effectively just selling like just raw GPU compute because of they're running out of capacity.
Right. Which you can market in a fun way by saying like, we're actually making money on AI. We're not just selling GPU compute, right? Because you can't. You would if you could. They would make money any way they could. Of course they would. Like it's whatever. I can't stand how impossible it is to know what's really happening anymore. When it comes to the finances. So.
Well,
what are you gonna
Surface is now just a whatever. The thing is like as annoying as it is what they've done with Surface, it's probably like the right accounting move because it's just not even a.
And it will, because otherwise it's this eyesore that investors and shareholders will point to and say, "Why are we doing this?" And now you can kind of hide it. I don't know that I hate to say it this way. It's not an ego thing. Surface started poorly, in some ways, competing with your own customers, but I feel like, the couple of computers they have now are actually very good. And it's not like they're showing the industry how it's done or anything, but it's the only place you can get unless you spend a lot of money, I suppose, a truly clean Windows experience.
Yeah, nothing against the devices, but here's the math though. Let's be generous and say that they did make $2 billion this quarter. We both know that number is high. We both know that.
Yeah, there's no way.
That would be 1/32 of their revenue.
Right.
And if they're probably saying like, look, if we have to
Well,
report $2 billion line items as individual entities on our
yep,
earnings,
yep, we can't.
then we have so many more things we have to pull out.
So yeah, well, it's probably closer to a billion,
So
right?
then it'd be 1/65th.
But you look at it in the terms of more personal computing, right? So you've taken away commercial, I'm going to call it licensing revenue from Windows. So the Windows number and more personal computing go down. You can see it, like it's even though it's up year over year. I mean, compared to the rest of the company, it's further behind than before. By the way, not just because of this, but just because of this, um, business productivity services, whatever it's called, the business that owns Microsoft 365, now the biggest part of Microsoft. It's been number 2 for several years, behind intelligent computing. Yeah, the part that owns Azure, right? So actually, that part of the business is bigger because of Windows licenses. No one wants to talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't want to talk about Windows licenses. That's not the future, but it is where all the money's coming from, or a lot of the money's coming from. So um, you got to make up revenues a little bit. You don't want that. You don't want Windows to go down by nothing, right? To nothing. So I mean, Surface must be like a billion or something. It's got to be. It helped make that drop look less bad. So I guess it's valuable on that on that level. I don't know.
I mean,
We'll
it's
never know,
absolute
right?
max Surface revenue could be, which is this number's not even close, would be
Mm-hmm.
13.2 billion because that's more personal computing.
Yep,
So, oof.
I know. But look at the numbers, like intelligent.
Oh yeah,
What's it called?
intelligent cloud
Intelligent
is
cloud. Sorry, and
24.1,
I mean, my
and
God, they're on different planets now.
and then business process, which is what you were talking about, is 28.3 billion.
Right. So not so long ago, these businesses were all about the
Yeah,
same
they were. It
revenue
was.
wise.
I remember we talked about it. It's
Remember,
like it
for
was
many
very nice.
years.
It was a
Yep.
third.
And it was so long ago that I want to say that there were roughly 11 to 13 billion in revenues, and that's how much everything has changed, except for more personal computing. Which, Xbox, if they were selling consoles, would be a good source of like revenue numbers, even though they're not making any money on that stuff. Same thing with Surface, right? But really, this business, that's just Windows. It's basically Windows from PC makers. It's got to be 90% of
I
those
would
revenues,
bet
something like that. I mean,
it's like
that's
Windows, and then there's it's Windows, Xbox, and then Surface is somewhere because search is probably higher.
Oh, yeah, fair
Search
enough.
news
And actually, no, I
advertising,
mean, okay. And I should say, I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember anymore. If you look at what Activision was pulling in,
oh yeah,
actually,
Activision. I
that's a
forgot about
chunk. I mean, that's a big chunk. So it's
that.
not
Wow, that actually
90%.
makes it a lot worse
Yeah, I
for
know.
Windows at least. Actually, for
Right.
Surface, I should say, it makes it even worse.
Yep. No, I think Surface is negligible, but it was Frank Shard said, I think it was at the Surface Duo event. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, what
Yeah.
is this? Why would you do this? And he said, let me ask you a hypothetical question. He said, if we can make hardware like this and not lose money, like I'm not saying it's going to be profitable, but we're not throwing money away. Is that okay? I was like, yeah, that'd be great. Is that what you're doing? And he's like, I can't tell you that. So, but I mean, okay. I mean, so maybe I'm not saying Surface is breaking even. I mean, I don't think it is, but at some point, it's not like you can't call it an investment now. It's been around for what, 12 years?
Yeah, no,
It's not, we're not, it's just an ongoing concern at this point. So
it's a legacy hangover from we need to be Apple,
I know.
right?
I hate it.
When they went through that real hard phase. We got to have a music thing. We got to have hardware. We got to have a
That's
phone.
why I said it. I don't think it's not fair to call it ego. Like the CEO is a person who demands that these things justify their existence, right? And there's something about Surface we don't know. And it may be as simple as Microsoft executive on a stage opens a laptop and there's a Microsoft logo there. And I know it's not ego. That's not the right term, but it's just like brand or image or.
Yeah, it's a PR thing for sure.
I guess. I mean, I
Like
hate to
Microsoft
reduce
killing
it to that.
Surface. Like if they straight up just said we are done with
It would
like,
be so bad. It would
that
just
would
be,
be
even though no analyst, no shareholder, no investor would ever give it, anything.
no, they would applaud it. They're like, look, this thing is just sucking down money.
I know, but it would still be a bad.
It's a brand identity at
Yep.
this point. And it's like the company that makes the software can't do hardware. Like you guys can't figure that out. Actually, they really can't figure out hardware. They have a very rich history of not figuring out hardware for profitable reasons.
Well, I mean, you're right, but to be
Let
fair
me
to Surface,
let's go
it's
back.
gotten a lot. It's
Name one
more
piece of
reliable,
Microsoft hardware that is profitable that has stood the test of time.
dude. You know what it was? It was their mice and keyboards, which they freaking
That's
got
the
rid
only
of.
thing.
It's crazy,
It's the
right?
only
I
thing.
literally, yeah, that stuff did great. It
Everything
always
else
did
has
great.
been a tragedy,
Yeah. I
which is
mean,
crazy.
yep. I
Well,
mean,
that's why they call it Microsoft, not Microhard, right? Like it's
yeah, I know. Jesus. Even though back then, when it was 2 words, they had a hardware device back then. They had that Z80 thing for the Apple IIe, so you could run
oh yeah, God.
whatever that was called, CPM or something. It was a long time ago. But anyway, I appreciate on one level they've really gone for it, right? They entered the console market, big investments, big hardware, and then they did Surface, which again a mixed bag rationality wise, but big
Yep.
investments, and they've gone to the point where they're pretty good at this, but they don't make like the devices are good. I mean, they're great. Like I'm using one right now. I love it. I paid for it with my own money, like a loser. Like I love it. I don't know.
Every day, the Surface Book 3, that is what powers this pod. Well, that's not really true, but
Powers.
it's
Careful.
what powers the notes and
Yeah.
the screen behind me.
Right.
There's a Duo right here.
Yeah.
And
There you go.
it's still a lovely piece of hardware, but it just,
Yep.
they just, I don't know.
I know. I can't explain it. Maybe. Oh boy. Maybe they could do what they do with the hardware, the mouse and keyboard stuff. Although, by the way, that's not exactly appeared yet, huh?
No, it's taking its sweet time.
I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, maybe Surface becomes a line of
I don't
some
know.
other company. I don't. Yeah,
It becomes a.
you know what I mean. Like have it made by someone
You know who
else.
they should give it to? You know that new like x86 consortium?
Nice. Here, you figure it out.
Just like
This is the reference hardware.
it's like when your mom comes over and drops off stuff from high school, and it's like, here you go.
Just like, what's this?
Just
speed. The car speeds away. You're like, what's going on?
here's my other great analogy for the day that I was thinking of earlier. So like, I'm really tempted to try to find on like Black Friday one of these old Mac Minis, and by old I mean like the M2s, to become my Windows on ARM test box.
Oh, interesting.
But it's like the colonoscopy, right? Like it just doesn't feel right, but it's the right thing to do.
Did you see Parallels is pushing Apple Intelligence through to Windows on Mac, so you can use like the writing tools and whatever in Windows applications.
I cannot imagine on
Right.
proper Windows.
Yep. Well, when you're running Windows on ARM on the Mac.
I thought you meant on like x86 Windows.
No. But I mean, you've got the Mac. You're running Windows in it. You could use that coherence mode, so it's just like the app inside the Mac, or not. It's up to you. But and then you get writing tools inside Microsoft Word or whatever. Why not?
I can't imagine Apple likes that.
Or
they like
you're using a Mac, you're using their AI. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's how they win. So.
Here, drink this before the colonoscopy.
Yeah, it's gonna glow.